I think we are ready, Ramji. We are good to start.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So I hope that everyone has done session 1 and 2, because now we are on verse number 3.
Oh, okay.
So who
I'm
has
just
not
going for the
attended?
first time.
Okay, you are for the first time. Okay, and who else is first time? If I can know. Okay.
Rani ji, sir.
Rani Dhawan, yes.
Yeah.
Acha. Okay, 2 people. But never mind. What I'll do, that I'll do a little bit of recap, which is important actually when we meet after every 7 days, and 7 days is a big time to forget a lot of things. And unlike other sessions, what my sessions, specifically these 5-6 sessions, they are related to each other, and it is very important to know what happened in chapter 1, verse 1, verse 2, what we had been talking about, so that there is a reference to context of the current thing. So we are coming to today we will be doing verse number 3, chapter number 1 of the spiritual science of the Bhagavad Gita. If you have any questions, let's begin from there. If there are some areas where you want to ask a question, so we'll do that. Otherwise, I'll start. Okay. No? All right. So can I have the verse number 3 on the screen, please?
Yes. Everyone seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone can see. This is verse number 3, chapter number 1, and it goes like this. Pashyatam Pandu Putranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamumam.
What about
Somebody is wanting to say something. Hello. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to request you all to, or rather, the admin can put the mics on the mute side. Anybody who is wanting to ask a question may please raise their hands, and then we will make sure that you can ask the question. That's okay by everybody? Yeah. Okay. So this is the verse. Vyudham Drupad Putrer Tav Shishyena Dhimata. Like I said, that we are not so much interested in the Sanskrit version of the verses, but we want to know what is behind them. So in the first verse, in the second verse, whatever the important things were that needed in context of how we are proceeding, we had dissected them. That means ये सब जो संस्कृत के शब्द हैं, इनका संधि विच्छेद किया. संधि विच्छेद का मतलब when we dissected them, we found that they contain different meaning. In the verse number 1, Sanjay, rather the blind mind Dhritarashtra was asking Sanjay, who had the power to know anything and everything which was happening in the battlefield. And we have told in the battlefield there were 2 forces. These 2 forces, one belonged to the Kaurav and the second force belonged to Pandav. So I'll give you a little this thing. Why? Because it will be important here. So these 2 forces, force number 1 is the force that is responsible for destabilization. That means these are the negative forces. We had taken into account that the negative forces are responsible for destabilization of our nervous system, and the positive forces are responsible for rejuvenation. Negative forces create in our body fight and flight response, and the positive forces, they create a rest and digest. Ram, can I have yeah, that's right. So here is our nervous system. I am taking Bhagavad Gita currently with respect to our own nervous system, because Bhagavad Gita is getting developed from here. So the 2 systems which support the central nervous system, we call it central nervous system is CNS, sympathetic nervous system is SNS, and parasympathetic PNS. So what is happening, that sympathetic nervous system receives the signals from the outside world. The outside world, when we receive the signals, we perceive whatever it is. It could be threat for anything. We have taken threat as one of the emotions that we felt. When the threat comes, suddenly all parameters of our nervous system, they get disturbed. And what are they? My breath breath starts to become faster, my heartbeat becomes faster, my blood pressure increases, my airways start to get constricted, my digestion gets affected, my immune system gets affected. So the central nervous system, whatever is not necessary, shuts down, and certain chemicals start flow in my body, which is cortisols, and they are responsible for throwing more energy to hands and feet. So sympathetic nervous system, what it is doing, it is preparing you to confront the threat. This threat, which is when we confront, then all this is necessary, because what is happening? You have to have either have to fight or you have to run away, flight. So this is what is known as fight and flight response. So all the blood, all the energy, it starts to move towards our hands and feet. The central nervous system is the victim at that particular time. When the threat goes away, then the parasympathetic nervous system, it takes over, it creates the situation, rest and digest. In this rest and digest, everything starts to repair, and this is happening on the central nervous system. अब देखिए क्या है, supposing when I am speaking in Hindi, I'm always I always start to do that because I love speaking in Hindi. So everything is happening on the central nervous system, और जो ये central nervous system है, इसके दो पार्ट जो अभी बताए हैं, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, these two systems are at loggerhead with each other 24/7, right? The two forces which are given in chapter 1, verse 1 of the Bhagavad Gita are Dharma Kshetra Kuru Kshetra. We had dissected Dharma Kshetra and Kuru Kshetra. Kuru Kshetra is the force which we experience from the outside. When that force comes, then destabilization takes place, which we had explained in detail in the earlier verses. And sympathetic nervous system, that means the part which we are talking, we had talked about the two parts of existence. We connected those two parts of existence with the inner field, with the field of our own body. In the body, the five senses of perception, five organs of action are what get affected by the sympathetic nervous system. Signals coming from outside, the perception that happens in the blind mind. We had said Dhritarashtra is the blind king, but he represents the blind mind. So the blind mind perceives a threat. तो उसको मैं एक बहुत छोटी सी बात बताता हूँ, because I keep doing this with my co-host who's an 18-year-old girl, and I said, look, when we were why only you? Each one of us, when we were kids, we were scared of going in a dark room. What was there in the dark room? We said bhoot. That means ghost. There was a ghost. That ghost was there actually. No, the ghost was not there. It was my perception of the mind. And because of that perception, fear was generated. Because of the fear, my body gets disbalanced. But now imagine, suddenly I go with my father or I go with my mother in the same dark room. Where is the ghost? Ghost is gone even in your mind. And when it has gone out of your mind, then suddenly we realize, hey, this was my perception. And this is what exactly in the Gita we are starting. What we have done, two parts of existence, two parts of our nervous system, two kind of forces which are rising, and we finding that everything, the problems and solutions are lying here in our body. Sympathetic nervous system gives rise to all kinds of fears and phobias. Parasympathetic nervous system corrects it. Everything happens on its own. We had talked about the homeostasis process, where this process happens automatically. Autonomous nervous system and all that some of you know very well. And yeah, so these two forces, what I'm trying to
I have a
develop.
question.
Yeah,
Sir,
please.
and when we go in a dark room without when we are alone, so how to deal with the fear?
Yeah. So what we are going to be doing, currently we are creating that base here. How to deal with the fear will come in chapter in verse number 3, 4, 5. So currently we remain on this, understanding verse 1, 2, and finish our verse number 3. Okay. So this answer will definitely come to you. Okay. Okay. So sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system to this we are doing. I'm taking more time into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system because this question came to me from various quarters where they said we have never heard anybody talking about sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system in chapter 1, verse 1 of the Bhagavad Gita. We have not seen anywhere, and you will also find that it is not seen. Now, second thing which is happening. First, so this is the thing. Second, in none of the translation except for one, all these dissection of the people, places, and things are given. We are giving you here. We are correcting what is Dharma Kshetra, what is Kuru Kshetra. I want that figure once again, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. In this is our Bible, because everything is going to happen here. The central nervous system is what controls everything. And we have to understand this, that our solutions are also lying here, right? Okay, it's okay. Now, because this question, you can have remove this sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. So what has to be done? That the question, for example, this came in the same way, we'll have to go back again and see the power. What is cognition? First, we have to understand cognition, because in this lecture, what I'm trying to do, I'm joining all the data points that we had, or the data points that are coming, so that they become a cohesive whole. What is the process of cognition? For example, I have this iPhone in my hand, I see it. When I see it, what is happening scientifically? Scientifically, the photons of light are coming out of this phone, entering the retina of my eye, going back to my brain, onto the occipital region through electrochemical signals. Photons of light emitting from the object are electromagnetic vibrations. Electromagnetic vibrations get transduced to electrochemical signals. Electrochemical signals then move to various parts of the brain, and then finally on the cortex, the neurons vibrate. The vibration of the neurons is electromagnetic vibration. Photons were electromagnetic vibration. And when these, through my sense of perception, went to the back of my brain, I saw something. What did I see? I saw, just one second. I saw vibration. That means when I saw this telephone, finally, somewhere in my mind, then I saw vibration. I gave it a name and form. Name, iPhone. Form, this kind of a telephone, whatever the form. Three things: object and senses of perception. And the third thing is I. Currently, I'll say, who saw it? Probably every one of you is going to give me the answer. I saw it. What's so big in asking this question? But the point is, who saw means who's that person who saw? So to a child, when I was talking, I said, let's start to dissect this. The dissection is, there is this object. My eyes saw it. Wonderful. Yes, your eyes saw it. Then how do you know? Can you see your eyes? I didn't know. I can't see my eyes, but I know. How do you know that you have eyes? Because my mind says, my mind tells me that there is something known as eye. All right. Then now let's start to dissect your word. You say, I saw an object. The I, that means now I am talking of E-Y-E-I. The I is there. I know it through my mind. Good. Then who's the I? Say I'm trying to tickle our curiosity. Then who's this I? Who's this I? I. So currently we are into body consciousness. I means this body. I means this body. This body is currently, why I'm saying we have to dissect this. And this body, currently we are talking of the central nervous system, two forces working on it, opposing forces. I is something which we must know. Who's suffering? Who's suffering from of traumas and tragedies? Who's suffering from disappointment or dejection? Who's disappointed? Anything and everything. You say, I. And we don't even know who's this I. Who's this I? We'll go, this we had discussed. I'm revising it. We'll go next step and then we'll come back to here. So we have seen seen that there is this chain: object, senses of perception, subject, me. The two parts that we had been talking about, parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system, they are located on the vertebra. The vertebra, we had mentioned earlier that this is known as Dharma Kshetra. Dharma Kshetra is the field of life and consciousness. Our biggest problem is we understand the physical world, but we do not understand the invisible world. And therefore, we had been talking about the classical and quantum physics. In the classical physics, we know everything about the object. अब देखिए मैं क्या बताना चाह रहा हूँ. जब हम भगवद गीता की बात करके, when we start to dissect these names of people, places, things, then it is being said that this is all philosophical. It doesn't have proof. Sorry, it has a proof also. But are you ready to listen? So the classical physics start to say that, hey, here are objects. It's lying here, it's lying there. It has its name, form, shape, everything it is there. But enter quantum physics. When we start to talk of quantum physics, whether you know it or not, don't bother that I don't know anything about quantum physics. We are just bringing in a point. And that point is that when you are saying, I saw an object, when you see an object, actually, you had seen waves. You had seen vibrations, not as particle, but as waves. And the reality of the particle is not what the classical physics is saying. It's a wave. So what is a particle? Particle is an illusion in the field of science. That means the reality of existence is different. Now exactly this is what the Bhagavad Gita has stated right in the very beginning. The Dharma Kshetra, the field of life and consciousness, is the only reality. The control, again, the classical physics and quantum physics, the control of the physical world lies in the quantum world. If you have to control the physical world, then quantum world is what you need. And this is where now we are coming to, that in case you want solution to the problems of your life, then you have to get into the inner field of life and consciousness. Just like very few people know about quantum physics, about the actual reality of existence, in the same way, we have absolutely no idea of what is life and consciousness. Everyone said, I looked at the phone while phone hands, my figure at the back, the colors, the sound, smell, taste, touch, everything is where I'm conscious. How do you know I'm conscious? Is there any doubt about your consciousness? No, there is absolutely no doubt about your consciousness. You are conscious. Who saw? So when you saw, we talked about these three aspects, and then we found suddenly, oh, this suddenly starts to change my perception. There is somebody who is watching, who's the seer, who's the drishta, dekhne wala, one who's the observer. And let me just tell you that as far as the current scientific scenario is, the seer or the drishta has come into the forefront, and most of the top rated scientists have begun to say, yes, there is something known as conscious. How do I become conscious? Can I have that figure, please? Man, buddhi, ahankar, chitta. Yeah. So the outer thing which I have just now told you, man, buddhi, ahankar, chitta. Yeah. So when we had said physical world and non-physical world, the signals and everything they came, we are able to dissect because they are material in nature. But who saw and where did you see? How do you know how the things they changed into emotions? We have absolutely no idea. And in chapter 2, verse 2, chapter 1, we had talked about how do we see and how do we assimilate information and what it is. So this is again a repetition, and then we will go further. There are 4 software. We have talked about the hardware, my body, 5 senses of perception, 5 organs of action, and I assimilate information through the signals that I receive. And then where did I see? This is totally a spiritual answer, not a useless answer, but it's an answer which has got its basis in your own consciousness. There are four softwares known as Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, and Chit. Mind is the screen on which the projections are made by the senses of perception. Then whatever is projected, it is fat, thin, red, blue, dark, left, right, center, anything and everything which is dissected is done by buddhi, which is known as the intellect. Intellect is the power of consciousness. It's given to present it to me. I see, I hear, I taste, I touch, I smell. This is the three parts. Something else also happens. And the fourth is that anything and everything that I have seen, it gets recorded into a place or a server we call as Chitta. Chitta is kind of a subconscious mind, but no, sorry, it is not. It is also, Chitta is known as the field of consciousness. In this field of consciousness, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, they interact. That means mind, intellect, and ego, they interact. When they are interacting, whatever is happening is stored. Quickly, I'll say, now this is the biggest problem area. Dronacharya, which we had explained in verse number 2, is our propensities, our ideas are embedded in it. We have our beliefs, dogmas, our learning, anything and everything is contained in the chitta. Whatever we have, anything, everything, it is there. And most of the time, about 96 to 98% of the time, this data bank we call as data bank is governing your life. This data bank is the most important thing, because in this data bank, you have created your ideas, your ambitions, aspiration, everything. The ideas is the most important thing, because the ideas create neural networks in your mind. These neural networks are what is responsible for conflict. I say I'm a Hindu, you say I'm a Muslim. My belief systems and your belief system are different. So here is Trump saying one thing, here is Netanyahu saying another thing, and some XYZ in Iran is saying something else. These are the conflicts, because neural networks are created in the mind based upon your thinking. This thinking is forcing you to say danger. देखिए बड़ी बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, मैं जहां पे आ रहा हूं, ये when I am confronting a problem, that problem is a conflict. That conflict has come from my ideas, from my perspective. My perspective was that in that room there is a bhoot, there is a ghost, and that ghost is my idea. And when my dad came and he took my finger, pulled me, and he said, come into that room and show me the ghost, I went with him without fear. My perspective changed. My perspective changed. But what about that neural network which was all the time telling me, no. This happens because of, see, abhi main thoda jaldi bata de raha hu. We have a primitive brain. The primitive brain senses for danger. Oh, is it a foe or a friend? That primitive brain from fishes, we have inherited in our mind also, in our system also. And that primitive brain, anything and everything, every sensory data passes through it. And when it passes through it, it dissects it for danger. And the worst part about human being is, even every idea, a conflicting idea will create that danger. As soon as that danger is created, what is happening? My entire body chemistry is going for a toss. And so people who have been asking me, why are you talking about this in the first words? Because this is what is happening to you. Please understand that it is the contradictions, conflict happening in your mind. The projections which are coming into your mind, these projections then give rise to thought, emotion, and feeling. When these emotions rise, then you are suffering or you are having a joy. Joys, pains, pleasures, sorrow, suffering, disease, all comes from there. All comes from there. And that is what is happening to you. The question is, how do I change it? Somebody said, please let me know how will I change it? What is the methodology? And that methodology is being shown in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita starts from here. It starts with your problem of the mind. It starts with what is happening to your body. It starts with giving you some cues that the control is here. The control is here. And that control is what we have, that this is the control. If you have to do anything, then this is the methodology, right? Yeah. So in our, can I now have verse number 3, please? Ram, can I have verse 3? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So in verse number 1, blind Dhritarashtra had asked some question. Sanjay replied by saying that Duryodhana had gone to Dronacharya and he showed him how the formation, the opposite side, that means Pandav Sena, how the Pandav army is making a formation. In the third verse, now we are coming now. Next, he is now telling Pashyatam Pandu Putranam. Pashyatam means after that. After that, वो बता रहा है. Now he is telling कि जो पांडु पुत्र हैं आचार्य, इनको देखो. Vyudham. Vyudham means formation. How they are arrayed in the battle. How will they fight? And who's making the formation? Drupad Putre. Drupad ka putra, the son of Drupad. His name is Drishtadumna. Drishtadumna जो है वो कौन है? वो सेनापति है. किसका सेनापति है? पांडवों का सेनापति है. तो पांडवों का सेनापति, he is the commander in chief of the Pandav army. It's not Arjun. It's Drupad Putren Drishtadumna. And he's saying, Duryodhana, this is Duryodhana who's showing to Dronacharya. And see, this Drishtadumna is also your disciple. Very able disciple, but he's your disciple because Dronacharya was the teacher of both Kaurav and Pandav. This is what is happening. Let's remind once again who are Pandav. Pandavas were the kings of Hastinapur. They not only lost Hastinapur, but then they were given another kingdom, Indraprasth. They lost that too by deceit to Duryodhana. कौरवों के साथ वो हार गए थे. जब हार गए तब क्या हुआ? They become slave. They lost all their power. They lost their kingdom. They had lost their wife Draupadi. Draupadi was Drupad's daughter and Drishtadumna's sister. Anyway, we'll come back to that sometime. I just showed you a connection here. And they are, you take it as that we are a symbol of us. We lose so many times in life. We are depressed. We are under tension. We have stresses, everything that is happening to you. And some people who are really, really bad, then they go into a state of known as mudha. Mudha means they need really help. They need help badly, failing which they will not be able to do anything. Jo Pandav hai, 5 Pandavas, they had also lost everything. I'm not saying that from there, but beginning from here, we will dissect the 2 words, Drupad and Drupad Putre. That means Drishtadumna. Drupad represents extreme dispassion to material desire. Dhru means to hasten or to run. Pad means pace or step. Right? एक second, Ram, we have not done that. फिर उस पे ही आ जाओ, वापस आओ, वापस sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous. Right. अब देखिए, please give me, I'm dying to speak in Hindi, तो मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगा. अगर किसी को नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो please raise your hand. Then I will nod. No. Okay. देखिए क्या था कि हमने बताया एक फील्ड है लाइफ एंड कॉन्शियस का, एक फील्ड है हमारा फिजिकल. मैं आपको वो समझ में आ जाएगी बात. मैं जो समझाना चाह रहा हूँ, जो क्लासिकल फिजिक्स है वो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड है. मटेरियल वर्ल्ड इज द वर्ल्ड विच इज एक्सपीरियंस थ्रू 5 सेंसेस ऑफ परसेप्शन. ध्यान दीजिएगा इससे बहुत. मैं आपको एक ऐसी चीज अब बता रहा हूँ जिससे आपको आगे की चीज समझ में आने लग जाएंगी। क्यों? क्योंकि ये कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आएगा द्रुपद का क्या मतलब है, एक्सट्रीम डिस्पैशन फॉर द मटीरियल, नॉनसेंस, टोटली नॉनसेंस टाइप ऑफ टॉक, टोटल स्पिरिचुअल, हैज नो मीनिंग। सो आई एम ब्रिंगिंग मीनिंग टू, सॉरी, हाँ, तो मैंने आपको बताया एक फील्ड है लाइफ एंड कॉन्शियसनेस का, एक ये क्लासिकल फिजिक्स में हम बोलते हैं कि ये फिजिकल वर्ल्ड है, एवरीथिंग इज हियर फिजिकल वर्ल्ड, इट हैज प्रॉपर्टी, इट हैज every single parameter with which we can measure it, know it through our five senses of perception. And we have still not talked about the parasympathetic nervous system here. I only said life and consciousness. तो अभी हम क्या करेंगे? Please give me this privilege not to talk about it, because we'll be talking about it in greater detail when little bit more we understand about the Bhagavad Gita. So the field of life and consciousness is the inner field, the field which is the truth. How? In the classical physics we came down to a particle and we realized that जो particle है वो तो illusion है, particle है ही नहीं। क्वांटम फिजिक्स में आके, ये मैं कोई उल्टी सीधी बातें नहीं कर रहा हूँ, ये मैं फिजिक्स की बातें कर रहा हूँ, which is absolutely you can go and check up anywhere. The classical physics says there is a particle and quantum physics says there is no particle. It's a wave of probability. Where is the particle? Uncertain. We don't know. Heisenberg principle of uncertainty. Things cannot be measured. They are different there. They are spiritual. They're spiritual there. What is the truth? Quantum physics says, hey, this is the truth. Here is our quantum field theory. We go up to the point where we want to say, hey, this is how the universe has been made. Perfectly fine. Absolutely right. And beyond that, that's the truth. That's the reality. What is the reality? I don't know. Science is still looking at it, but spirituality has not only looked at it, but have found it. अब आपको ये बात समझ में आ रही है? दो पार्ट। क्लासिकल फिजिक्स वाले कहते हैं कि ये वर्ल्ड है, ये आर्टिफिशियल वर्ल्ड है, दिस इज नॉट द ट्रूथ। क्वांटम फिजिक्स वाले एक नया वर्ल्ड दिखाते हैं और उस नए वर्ल्ड में जो है वो ठीक। द पीपल हु आर लर्निंग क्लासिकल फिजिक्स स्वेयर बाय क्लासिकल फिजिक्स एंड दोज हु डू क्वांटम फिजिक्स दे स्वेयर बाय क्वांटम। तो ध्रुपद कौन है? ध्रुपद हैज डीप dispassion for classical physics. Nonsense. I don't want this. This is all bogus. This thing doesn't exist, and therefore I am not interested. Can we come back to our Drupad? Now you will be able to understand. Drupad represents extreme dispassion to the material. This is not what I want. I am, Dhru means to hasten, Pad means step. I am the inner field. I am the inner field who's interested in the truth of the quantum field. Truth of the quantum field. Isn't that? Drupad has a son. His name is Drishtadun. अब आपको दृष्टद्युम्न समझ में आएगा. दृष्टद्युम्न. Next slide. हाँ. Drisht. These are all Sanskrit words. These Sanskrit words, when dissected, change their meaning. Drishtadun is the inner awakening. Drishtadun. Drisht means bold, daring, confident. और द्युम्न is splendor, glory. मैं आप कोई नोट्स मत लीजिए, नोट्स ना लीजिए। अभी हमारे पास जो एक फॉर्म वगैरह है हमने दिया है आप लोगों को, आप अगर फॉर्म भर देंगे, आप ईमेल अगर हमें दे देंगे, तो हम आपको जो भी आप हमसे मांगेंगी, डायग्राम्स, फिगर्स, डेटा, विल बी ग्लैड टू प्रोवाइड इट टू यू। तो आप आराम से, हाँ, इन द चैट बॉक्स तुमने लगा दिया है, तो उसे कर लो, एंड यू कैन डू इट whenever I want you to enjoy it instead of taking notes. But you are most welcome if you feel comfortable by taking notes. It's all right. मैं आपको बार बार बताना चाह रहा हूँ, we, each one of us who's meeting here, we have a karmic connection. This kind of data is not available on YouTube. It is also not available with hundreds of gurus and yogis and other people who teach. I'm not a yogi, I'm not a guru, I'm not anybody. I'm just an enthusiastic Gita enthusiast, and I have tried to follow everything from a Vedantic tradition. And recently I have started to teach, and I am enjoying. Right? So Drupad is what he is the inner field. He is now doing the fight. He's also supposed to be awake, divine awakening. Oh, the truth is this. When Pandav had lost everything, they are in dumps, they are in darkness. Who was with them? It was Krishna. Who's with them in the story part? Now, this is known as divine awakening. Each one of us who want to say, I want to repair myself, or I want to come out my depressions, I want to come out my disappointments, regrets of life, or just want to say, I just want to have satisfaction, fullness, joy, happiness. I'm not using the word pleasure. If this is what is what you want, then the first thing is divine awakening. Awakening means, oh, it's possible. I can, because I have within me the power to know. And that power to know resides in this diagram only, which is sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. And we will take it up from verse number 4. So entire thing is, before I teach you Bhagavad Gita, before you have questions like, who am I? Where is the mind? Where is the buddhi? What is the origin of universe? What is this, that, and everything? First, we must learn life. Life kya hai? Can somebody give me the definition of life? The dictionary definition of life is that it is the period between birth and death. I'll make a statement here. There is, as far as life is concerned, life and consciousness is concerned, there is no birth, there is no death. The life continues. But when we have a perception that life, there is something known as death, then in that case, our perceptions start to change about everything that is there physically around us, right? And from verse number 4, 5, 6, we will start giving you the methodologies, how this fight is being organized by the commander-in-chief Drishtyadumna. What is the fight? The fight is between the negative tendencies of the mind and the positive inclination. Discernment, the power of intellect, the power of buddhi, which is always connected to the state of pure awareness. We call as Krishna conscious. Kahani ke roop mein Krishna conscious. Dekhe, in every lecture, again, some new people, I always say, irrespective of your caste, creed, or religion, please join my classes, because we are not teaching dharma, we are not teaching religion, we are teaching universal law. What are those universal laws? Those laws are universal, because now you will come to know from verse number 4, 5, 6. This is it for this chapter. We'll meet again, but however, I'm open to questions. If you have any questions to ask, any doubts that are arising, and like I said, if you fill up the form, then you can ask questions from me on email also, and I'll answer you whatever is possible. And I do hope that you have liked my lecture and bring more people. Thank you, Ila, for saying whatever you are, or WhatsApp positive Guruji. I am not Guruji, but one thing that I don't want to be called is a guru. I'm a teacher. I love it, so I'm doing, and that's about it. And I'm just like you and me, everybody. Yeah. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I am concerned, it's good night for me. It's good night for you too also. Yeah.
Thank you, Raviji. It was
Thank you.
very interesting.
I
Thank
hope
you.
so. I hope so. And I hope so you'll
Yes,
be
no,
here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
it's a very enlightening talk. Thank you, Raviji.
Thanks very much. Thank you. I'm delighted that you found so.
Thank you so much.
Right. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much for everyone who's
Sir,
thanking me.
give me
Yeah.
5 minutes to.
What is it?
No, okay, carry on.
Ajit, ठीक. All. Thank you very much. So I'll take your leave, and
You leave, sir, because of you leave meeting immediately, then recording will be disconnected. Then all people will go. You can leave now.
I can leave.
No, sir. All people go.
Acha,
Then you.
all right. I won't. Okay, ठीक है. Thank
Just
you very
quickly
much.
to, sorry,
thank-
Raviji, just 2 minutes if I may
yeah,
take.
yeah.
Yes, just to, because it's very different for what we all understand Bhagavad Gita, and of course what we all understand science differently.
Yeah.
But what you are bringing it together to see from a single lens is, of course, very unique and very inspiring, because again, the Advaita to everything says there's no two. So So now what you're bringing is as oneness to all of it. But because it's new, so I just wanted to clarify. When you started, you said Dharma Kshetra Kuru Kshetra. We
Yeah.
got that part. And who is Dhritarashtra is a blind mind.
Yeah.
So that is the blind mind we are referring to, all of us, that we all have that inside, yeah, who is controlled by desires and who is blind, running all around. But then when we introduce the idea of nervous system here, is that also the good and bad side is a referred Kauravas and Pandavas. So
Yeah.
if I'm correct, if I'm relating correctly with the mind, these two nervous system are related, but then one is sympathetic and parasympathetic, but both are part of the central nervous system. So again, and that again connects to what you described. So is that correct? What we are connecting the dots with you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
This is why I said ki, there's no point in listening to me if you don't understand from verse 1 to verse 3. And therefore, sometimes there are many repetitions, but the repetitions are very good. The reason is you begin to see more in the things which we have talked. By listening again and again, this is why it is said that, that ये जितने भी ना अगम वाक्य कहते हैं, इसका मतलब ये है कि जो spiritual talks हैं, that you should listen again and again because you find something new. And I also enjoy it when I'm doing it. I suddenly see some new points and then I begin to speak about them. So
But when we talk about nervous system, about the stress, fight or flight, or the rest and reset, in rest and digest, in either way, there is certain extent of the stress is required for body to function. That we call it eustress, a good one. But then how the Kauravas relate to that part? That's where a little bit I'm not sure whether I'm connecting right. So I'm
No,
clarifying
you are
with you.
connecting right. You are connecting right. But let me say, cortisol is like you are a neuroscientist, already. Cortisol is a good molecule. When it's a good molecule when you are
Moderation.
in danger, because your hands and feet need all the energy, and cortisols and your adrenal glands and this that are working towards it. It's a good thing. Otherwise, you die. So for saving you out of danger, this is needed. But when you have these molecules continuous, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a slow fear, and that slow fear is continuously producing cortisol, and these cortisols are now shutting down gradually, slowly, some part, all the systems of the central nervous system, and all battles are actually fought on the central nervous system. The forces of, see, there are 5 senses of perception, 5 organs of action. These are 10. Each of them have got 10 propensities. They create 100 propensities which are negative, right? So ये है 100 corrupt. ये है 100 corrupt. Then the buddhi, that is the intellect, is pandu, which we had discussed right in the very beginning. Pand means white, bright, knowledge, conscious, right? So now he has 5 sons. What is happening? This is the power of discernment. This is the power of discrimination. This is that inner power which is always connected to the state of pure awareness. What is this? This is what we are going to be talking about. क्या है ये awareness? कैसी awareness है? मुझे क्यों नहीं दिखती? क्यों नहीं दिखी अभी तक? What is wrong? So then you have to go into the so-called spiritual practices, because science ने तो यही नहीं बताया ये देखने वाला कौन? मैं कौन? साइंस ने अभी तक ये नहीं बताया हाउ डिड, जब हमने बताया मैंने देखा क्या था, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स थे, फोटॉन्स थे, एटम्स थे, मॉलिक्यूल्स थे, ऑल राइट, आर दे कॉन्शियस? बोले नो, नॉट, व्हाट नॉनसेंस, हाउ कैन दे बी कॉन्शियस, दे आर इनसेंटिएंट. देन बोले हाउ डिड मैटर बिकेम कॉन्शियस? बिकॉज I am experiencing consciously. I am experiencing my traumas experienced tragedies, disappointments, depression. I experienced joy, sorrow, everything. How did it happen? Science has absolutely no answer because they have not looked into it. With this, we want to say, hey, it's my experience. Why are you disputing it? Well, yeah, this is the experience, but what is the equation? Well, go to hell. Where is the equation? The equation is the experience. And subjective. Yes, it's subjective because you can't prove it. Who says you can't prove it? Thousands of our rishis, yogis in the past have proven and said again and again and again, Main Brahma hu. I am Brahman. I am God. I am that power. Gita starting from here. इसी सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम में जब हम 3, 4, 5, 6 पे जाएंगे तब हम बताएंगे भैया कृष्ण यहाँ बैठे देख लीजिए, है ना। जब आप चलने जाएंगे, अभी मैं आपको ऐसी ऐसी बातें बताऊंगा, आप बोलेंगे ये क्यों हमें नहीं मालूम। बच्चों को बतानी चाहिए, वो बच्चों को मालूम नहीं। अब जब बच्चों नहीं मालूम या कुछ नहीं मालूम तो उसका क्या किया जा सकता है। वी आर unable to utilize this power which is there in our hand. I used to be with Maharshi Mahesh Yogi. There was this 1% principle. It said that if 1% population of a city or district or school, something, they start to meditate regularly, the environment will change. And this is shown scientifically by many experiments, but in science also. You take a piece of metal, you put another metal piece in it, there's no magnetism. But now in this piece of metal, you take a magnet, powerful magnet, and move it like this for a little while. And lo and behold, when 1% atoms of this iron become magnetic, this bar shows properties of magnetism. अभी मैं सिर्फ इतना सही बता रहा हूँ. Once we start to change our perception, see, you are doing a very good work, Gita from there, and mindfulness from here, and see spirituality from somebody. All this is extremely a good work. We require that because if the world has to change, then the perception has to change. The perception has to change. Our neural networks have to change. And for doing that, we need this transformation. And it is coming. It'll happen. But whatever we can do, let's do. That's about it.
Very fascinating. Thank you very much for clarifying.